I am your illustrious host, Dragon, followed by Wolfman Sam. Say hi, buddy.
Hi.
There you go. Today we have Charlotte Fury versus the Chosen Guans, and we get to see what types of chaos they will ensue.
This should be a pretty interesting matchup, at least on the duo side, in my opinion.
Gut feeling, Sam. Who do you think's gonna win?
I'm gonna go to Charlotte Fury,
That's what I was gonna say.
but we have seen upsets come out of the Chosen Guans before.
It's a very surprising one. That is true. Could be a 2-1. Could even be a reverse 0-2. Who is their new solo laner?
Their new solo is. I'm trying to find their rosters. One sec. Their new solo is MLG 11, and then the Dummy Slick is actually their jungle now, and Amish has been moved to the support role.
All right. Well, we shall see how that goes for them.
Which we know Amish likes to play a pretty aggressive support.
I'm calling a Fafnir out of him.
I'm
Almost,
saying Fafnir
almost.
or Terra, depending on bans.
I think even with bans, the Fafnir's coming out. If I was a betting man, that's that's how I would lean.
Fafnir is strong now because of the changes to Silver Branch. That item's kind of ridiculous.
Right, with his initial attack speed steroid just from his 2, and then with the Shoguns thrown on top of that after the Shoguns buff, that's almost 50 power you could throw on any hunter that you buff.
I also like not even necessarily the attack speed, but I think one of the strongest things about that is the percent damage it also applies.
Aha!
Even throwing
Set
that on mages is disgusting.
correct. A set ban coming out first. I've recently been playing a lot against this character. A great set will ruin your night.
He's so elite. Like he's one of the hardest characters to lock down, in my opinion.
Yeah, just with his teleporting abilities. That's something you want to see in an assassin. Those they could just pop up at any point.
That and then even when you try to like kind of work around that, then the decoys or his clones or whatever get reshuffled, so then you have to reset up and he could be gone by that point.
Exactly. And on her band coming out.
Which on her, super solid, just
Right.
all around, no real weaknesses.
I think if I remember correctly, the Guans had some trouble against an on her in their last match that they did last week.
But Charlotte Fury has a very strong on her. I felt that firsthand. I think he went like 12-2 in our game.
Yeah, that would that would prompt me to potentially ban that away from him. Maybe give him something he's a little less comfortable on.
The
I'll just
TMS.
note here that that's a Tully the Basin special right there. So
An Athena band coming out, that's pretty standard.
So right now bans have been standard, no targets, in my opinion.
Yeah, you think I think the on her band's a little targeted.
So on her it can be like half targeted, half not, because he is like a lot of ADCs don't like to deal with it because he's probably the best dueling ADC in the game.
Right, and he's one that most players are very comfortable with. We see a Morgan Le Fay ban. That character is fantastic right now. Brings a lot of CC. Relatively low cooldowns as far as mages go.
Very hard to lock down for an immobile mage because of the amount of self peel she provides.
Right, she has a fear, a slow, a knock up, knock back, a movement speed increase. Like it's
She also gets CC immunity for a very long time and can heal through a lot of damage.
correct. The Gilgamesh ban coming out. Standard.
Me booty
Give him
is
a
the best
Sobek
booty.
first pick.
Solo Beck? Support Sobek. What are you calling it?
I'd say support. You don't see too many solo backs nowadays.
Yeah, that's true.
I'd be careful with saying that. Atticus is kind of weird. I'm just gonna
I
put
know.
that
Yeah,
out there.
Atticus is a little wild, but
I saw an Apollo solo the other day. I saw an Alpoish solo the other day. You never know what's coming up.
ooh, he didn't go the Fafnir. I think
He's
I win that bet.
oh solo Ymir.
Jungle.
We see a Scylla coming out.
Which
AoE root, lots
I
of damage
actually really like Ymir into Sobek.
for the wall. I mean, you
To
could
the
even
wall.
whoever gets pluck, you still could save them with a really well timed wall.
Wall, and then when Sobek dashes in, you can just kind of freeze too, and he
Right.
can't do his CC.
Giannis coming out. Okay. Now we got some more mobility coming around. He doesn't prescribe to getting walled. He goes through walls.
This is true. Can you put the teleport on like player made walls?
No, you could not.
Okay. I was curious. I don't play Janus.
No, I was gonna say a potential of Wheelix here. That's very good. You have the dual knockup from Sobek, the Scylla dash that you could take it
Another
from,
performance already. I guess they can't get enough of
or
me.
teleport jump. It's technically it counts as a jump, so
So
Apollo pickup.
Apollo.
I
Apollo
kind
very
of
safe.
I kind of like that. It's very safe. You have the Mez, you have the dash knockup,
You can
and then
also match Janus's
yeah,
mobility.
exactly. Global for global. We see an Artemis band come out.
That's another Telly the Basin special, by the way.
We're just gonna ban Donza next. I'm calling
Blink
Donza ban.
Artemis is his one of his favorite things.
So I've actually really
That's
liked
pretty.
Artemis this season. With the changes to defense, you can actually peel for immobile mages and ADCs a lot easier this season as a support. So she's actually very strong just because the amount of support you can throw on gods like that.
I mean, so the whole shtick with immobile ADCs and immobile mages is they generally fight better, and they have to because they don't have that safety element. A Chiron actually wouldn't be a bad pick
The
for Charlotte.
Chernobog ban. So they're not trying to give them any
Yeah,
more
no,
global.
he's. I fear that there's a personal target being banned right now. It's a lot of ADCs.
With over half of their bans going to ADCs, I'm gonna say they are a little scared of Telly the Basin over in that ADC role.
I think you are correct with that assessment, good sir.
And then the Odin ban, which is very good against Janus and Sobek.
It honestly would have been a great idea for them to pick up the Odin, though. A
Oh,
Kali
the
pick.
Kali, which we saw the game that they won last week against the Kings, Dukes, or not Dukes, Knights, whatever they are. The Kali was like their cornerstone piece in that.
Well, if you take this late enough, Scylla will hit very hard. Kali becomes unkillable for 5 seconds. That's that becomes a scary individual. Rama picked up here. Okay.
Plus, not to mention, auto attack assassins are very, very strong.
Right. Now that you don't got to build boots and delay your build, they get online just that much earlier. It'll be interesting to see how the itemization goes on this Kali, though.
So Wukong's always a safe pick. You're not going to lose lane. You're not going to necessarily win it either.
Right. And that gives another knockup for a Wheelix to pull off of with the bull form.
Yeah. And Sun Wukong is one of the few characters in the game that can safely get away from a 5-man rotation.
Exactly. So I think they definitely have plenty of setup for this Awilix.
And then the RDO, which is a very good pick against this team, in my opinion.
Yeah, stops Sobek dash, stops half of Awilix's abilities, stops the Giannis from going. Like that character's CC just negated 50% of the potential abilities coming out of Charlotte Fury.
Which I am also a huge fan of RDO. I think she is slept on.
Now, it is solo RDO. Man, I was really hoping for the solo Ymir to come out just so I could be half right. No, but Amish is definitely gonna be support with that Ymir. Solo RDO into a Wukong. I don't know how that's gonna go for him because she's probably gonna go Vamp Shroud into the helmet like they've all been doing generically.
So
If
just based off of comps, which one do you like better?
comps wise, I actually give the comp to the Chosen Guans.
I'm with you there. I feel like their team fight's just a little bit better and their late game potential.
Yeah, just their overall kill potential isn't as high early, but like you said, as soon as late game rolls around, that's gonna be a very spooky team.
Which even their level 5 fight's not bad once you get that Ymir Silicali ult online.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's a
And then,
lot of
I mean,
damage to fight into.
even the Apollo just could be rotating around if he's got his clear set up. Technically, I think Rama wins that clear battle. Barely.
I think it depends on passive. So if Rama has all his arrows or Apollo has his passive proc.
Because it'll be the one from Apollo, which is something song performance. It's a song and dance of some sort.
It's a
And then
little
with
Irish jig.
yeah. And then he gets audacity and he just starts pegging away at it versus 5 astro arrows that could shoot through the whole wave.
So mannequins coming out of the Kali. Amish not opting for the benevolence, he is going for the sentinels, which means he's gonna look to play a little bit more aggressive in lane. Which is also good against the Sobek too, because if you get plucked, those 10 protections really help you a lot with tanking those minions.
Right, I'm actually gonna just watch the stream itself just so I don't have it open up twice. Let's see, starts. We got
Standard
Chalice
starts
and a
across the
Wukong.
board.
Yep. And Kali with the mannequins. We'll see how that works out. I've seen it work out well, and I've also seen it flop really hard if they get behind.
This is true.
Rama went a full mana pot instead of the multi-pot like Apollo did. Rama does need that mana more than Apollo does, though. Just because his clear is more mana intensive. We see a Benevolence versus a...
Sentinels.
Yep. I keep wanting to call it Watcher's Gift. Just old school that
I
way.
did too. I think it's
Every
about
time
it.
I see it, I'm like, oh, yep. Nope. Oh, the early gank getting the Giannis's beats, but it's not enough. I think there might have been just a small lack of communication there as Kekko just didn't turn around fast enough to help capitalize on that.
Which she was also very low, so
That
the
is
initial reaction is to dash away, because if Kali's already there, you don't know where Awelix is.
right. And now that Awilix is here with her blink up,
Which this Kali is definitely winning these early trades really hard.
which is something you don't want to see if you're Charlotte Fury. Kali's early game is when you're supposed to punish her, and honestly, it's probably because of that mannequins too. Just that extra auto attack damage is really coming in for that mid lane fight.
If I'm Sobek here, I'm definitely looking to force an engagement now. We hit level 2.
Yeah, but they're just getting out clear. They seeded the pressure, but you see an early Wheelix rotation definitely going in here.
I'm definitely looking for this fight.
Uh-oh, they're gonna pinch her. Oh no!
Miscommunication again. Instead of pushing up with the Wheelix, they stayed back and cleared wave.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Just allowed her to get pinched.
Hold still, please.
That's a
Okay,
good jump. That
yeah.
would have hurt. They're looking to freeze the Rama. Good
Very
wall.
good pluck.
Oh, good pluck. I don't see that regen to them. Especially, they gotta be careful because, yep, and just like that, Rama just grabbed it. I'm looking to fight now if I'm so back looking at
Yeah.
the pluck, especially with that regen procking, you'll win that trade. Get out of the way of concern. We see Yellowjin just missing the pluck.
Oh, that's a good wall.
That
Fine.
is a good wall. You gotta look, Amish is out of mana though, so they could definitely take this fight. Taking a lot of poke there just from those Rama basic attacks. I'm still looking to fight if I'm them.
Oh, this
Oh,
is
and here it
a
is.
dead Ymir.
Here it is. Give me your first
Oh,
blood.
the
Oh,
Sunder.
what?
Oh,
Oh
wow.
no! Why did you back off?
But the dash
Damn.
coming in.
Oh, okay, here we
Rama
go.
still.
Is that beads on Apollo? No, no. That's that should have been 2 kills against the Guans.
So that was beats down on Apollo.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Probably to get that cripple off of him so he could dash away.
Which see, that's that Sentinel's protections that allowed him to take the tower shot, take a little less damage, and then just walk
That
over
is
there.
true. If he would have had benevolence, he probably would have went down there. Personally, I like the Sentinel's gift. I really like what it turns into. Better than I like what animosity turns into. Animosity.
So there's a question in chat of how y'all feel about RDO and Nissan Wukong. And oh, stasis mode. As Kali and Scylla ulted, Janus is 2 HP. We're kind of on a cliffhanger here. This is like an
Yes,
episode of Dragon Ball Z.
this is actually a really bad moment for the Chosen.
Oh, and then the Kali goes down with the jump. Janus still alive, and they pull up the
Oh
double
no!
kill.
Where was that? And
Wow.
the Scylla 2 shot into the jungle, just totally in the wrong direction. Unfortunately for them,
Oof.
it's gonna turn into.
So back to the question of RDO into Sun Wukong. I actually like RDO into Sun Wukong because a lot of his fight and potential comes out of the Tiger and the Ox, so you can counteract both of those by just hitting your 2, and you're gonna kind of match him in clear. So that's a lane where no one's gonna win. You're just gonna stalemate it. But
Right,
then once you get into the team fights, RDO has a much bigger presence just being a guardian
exactly,
than Wukong will.
because Wukong is an ability based clear, but RDO out the gate, because she's a Stanchuous character, just gets twice as many abilities.
And with the Vamp Shroud, she does a lot of damage and is very tanky.
Right, so she's just gonna sustain through anything he's gonna dump out. So his main goal at this moment should be to get to like level 7 and start rotating mid to try and get some action somewhere else on the map, because that lane's a dud now.
Another big thing too is if that RDO decides to continue with the hybrid building, gets an E-Staff online, she has a lot of HP she can steal between the Sobek and the Sun Wukong.
That is correct.
Which Charlotte Fury had to be feeling good after that 2v2 in mid.
Right, especially with that almost risky 2v2 that they had in the duo lane.
Still, please.
Which it looks like that there's another skirmish going on in the mid lane.
Yeah, Kali taking a lot of damage. They're potentially looking
Janus
to,
going for a cheeky ult.
just to get his Wheelix out if she got caught in a bad position, but she was able to jump the Ymir wall, no problem.
So if you're the Charlotte Fury, you're
Mhm.
1300 gold. What are you looking to capitalize on here?
Right now, neutral farm. I want to force every one of those mid harpies that I can. I want to force the Draugr minion. I want to force fight totems. Just that's little leads, but if you get all of those, that gives your team another 5, 6, 700 gold just across the map.
Which Kali looking for the Wheelix. Here comes the Sobek ult. Oh,
Oh
unfortunate
no!
fight.
Communication once again.
But oh, he has some pretty good jukes, but gets picked up
Oh,
by the Sobek.
Kali taking a lot of damage.
coming
Yellow
out.
Gen just missing the Sunder. If he hits the pluck here,
Right
Kali's in
into
trouble.
the-
Oh, the Tiger! No!
An amazing stun coming out, but here comes
Oh,
the
the
ult.
Wukong. Does she have Blink?
Oh, she ulted.
That is a
She got out of it.
fantastic ultimate out of the Kali, and she will live. Great job done by Dummy Slick.
If we're
Well,
talking about like ability economy too, he just pulled a lot.
exactly. That was very well
Oh, the
done.
Janus.
Oh,
Oof.
that was the dream. That was a blind snipe on somebody backing. Can't fault him for that. It'll be back up by the time he comes back to lane here in a minute. Because he did start with Chronos Pendant. I do like seeing that out. The conduit jump start is better for clear. I personally don't know if you want to rush 30% CDR by going Sands of Time, or if you can take the alternative route, get the Conduit Gem, and then just get the Chronos Pendant for your 20% CDR plus the passive.
So I feel like a big thing with Janus is just cooldown though, just spamming your ability.
Right, and that's why I personally like the Sands of Time on him better. We also see that Kali now has Fatalis finish, so she's gonna be one quick lady.
But if you also know you're up against a Scylla who has very strong clear coming out of the crush, the Conduit Gem helps you kind of keep up with that.
And that's fact. Honestly, if
Oh,
I'm them,
great
I'm looking
play.
for a Kali. Oh,
Oh,
I mean, yep. Kali, excuse me.
oh, he misses the pluck on the Ymir, but he
That's
is
unfortunate. That's still a dead
control
Ymir.
coming out.
Ymir dead. This might
Great
be a
portal
dead
on the
Kali.
Kali with the jump. Apollo coming in.
Oh, Apollo is here. That portal actually stopped the Sobek ult damage from going off. The good feather step. Oh, Rama also rotating with. This is going to be a dead Kali. Marvel's confirmed! Tell you the basic coming in mid to pick up a huge triple kill. That's going to cement his lead. His fellow ADC died as well. This is going to be bad news for Apollo coming back into that lane. Ban Herc's going to be in for a rough time now.
It says Rama is 3-0. He is a big boy. Level
Right.
11.
It's like he just came to mid, got a triple kill after showing up well after the Apollo did, just because of rotational speed.
And then the
Yep, all that neutral farm going right to the way of Charlotte Fury. We're gonna see that gold lead start jumping.
what is that item Artio build? I don't know the name of it, but I know it like makes the minion stronger.
Something helm dynamic, not dynamic. What is it? That Dynasty played tyrannical. There it is.
Still, please.
Had something to do with leadership.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Dynasty played hell, but that's a thing of the past.
Which that's an interesting pickup.
Which one?
The tyrannical, which it helps him a lot.
I've been seeing that pretty much standard on those Guardian solos. They picked that up. Also, we see a Soul Eater come out of Wukong. Man's going for damage. He knows he's not gonna have the tankiness that Artio does.
I know Atticus loves that item. I've seen him build it multiple times from the games I've kind of seen him in.
Both Guardians picking up the Gauntlet second.
Which is standard. Usually it's your starter item Gauntlet, and that's when you start seeing the deviation
Right.
based off of what you're doing.
Rama got that triple kill and did not back. As you can see, like Apollo has that tier 2 Atlantis bow going on, and he's still just chilling with Ichabod.
Yeah, well,
Yep,
Rama
yeah.
also has 3k gold in hand, so he's just
Right.
trying to
He's
get whatever he can.
And that's really what you want to do. A
Through.
wild Janusol coming, potentially a Kali pick here. She's there's the wheeling salt, feathers. Oh
There's the
no.
jump with the Janus with her ult coming out. Rama snipe.
Rama just needs to hold on one more second, just a little too early on those. That is a great Giannis slow. The blink. Do we have a counter blink? Sobek dive, maybe?
If I'm the Sobek, I'm
Oh no, what does he do? Oh, dash.
dash.
Dash 3. There we go. Cleaned it up. Apollo has ulted into the duo lane. Scylla's popped ult. We're gonna see what she could do with it. Portal your feet. That's still a great portal knock up onto her. And you can see this is a level 8 Scylla now.
Still, please.
Super far behind the enemy team.
Which, if I'm that Sobek and I'm diving that, I'm okay dying just to trade out to keep that Kali even further behind.
Oh, for sure. And you can see as the goalie just surmounts even harder. Something to note though, somebody needs to let this Awelix know that the initial feather step off the ult or off any ability isn't preferred. You really want to stack up that bonus damage that you get by hitting 1 or 2 autos after pulling somebody.
Because it's like a ×2 at one point.
Yeah,
Right?
I think it goes all the way up to 2.5.
Okay.
Pick up your feet. Pay attention.
And this is where Wukong thrives, is just able to kind of march around the jungle and get out scot-free.
Pretty much. Giannis setting him at all just in case he might have got pinched there. He would have gotten out.
Which I'm liking this Giannis ults. A lot of Giannis's you play with will hold on to that ult either for kills, and he's just kind of throwing them
Right.
everywhere.
Even when they haven't been necessary, but if they were, they would have been there.
This way.
He goes in the coin to get him some pen online. We see Sovereignty picked out of the Sobek, which is good. The Scylla's not very big, not very hitting very hard. Their main damage source is that Apollo, is that Kali right now. It's gonna help put that behind.
Which if I'm blue side, I'm looking to force a fight on one of these neutral objectives, so I'd be looking at gold to see if I can just
Right.
force people to me. Rama just came back with an item and a half, so I'm ready to be looking for any sort of fight I can get.
Honestly, if I'm this Rama, I'm just gonna dash this Apollo. Just no respect.
And we're seeing a big rotation coming onto this left side looking for this
Right? Does he have a
Apollo,
ward? He does. He
which they
sees
are walking
everybody.
towards.
If I'm Apollo, I know that everybody's here. I'm either calling my team over or telling them to go pyro.
Which he definitely called them over, and it looks like there may be a gold fight here, which
Right.
everyone's
Hey.
kind of backing off and resetting.
They're telling them to potentially bait the gold fight. I mean, if I'm Charlotte Fury, I want to fight here. We have the itemized lead. We have the gold lead. I'm just waiting for Yellow Jin to grab somebody so we could get this good a wheel assault going off. Oh no, and we see all the knockups used with nobody actually knocked up.
Oh, that portal.
The troll Giannis portal.
Kali
We see
diving
Kali
into the
blinks
spot.
in. Where is her help though? Because now this is a Kali sequestered from the rest of her team. Giannis is gonna do what he does best and just slip away.
Which
As he ults back in, huge ultimate hitting the Scylla for most of her health. Giannis is gonna fall here. The Apollo ult is up, looking. Kali gonna take a lot of damage from those two
that
tower
is a big
shots.
2-for-0 trade onto the red team, and they're gonna go straight to the Gold Fury, which
I
will be
think
big
this Gold
play.
Fury is a very ballsy call. That Wukong is still there.
Rama's
That
looking
Rama's still there with snipes. Honestly, if I'm Rama, I'm like, hey Wukong, get me some vision. Pew, pew,
to get
pew.
it. Dropping a ton of damage though. Maybe Wukong can pick somebody up.
No, Wukong's out of mana. That's his beads, honestly.
Down goes the Kali.
Yeah. Overstaying your welcome. Honestly, I feel like that was another communication error because you saw both tanks just left. That was a Kali fighting alone.
Go get 'em, boys!
We are still looking at a 4K gold lead onto the side of Charlotte Fury. Well, it's like a 5K now, but
Yeah, but that was definitely a 1,000 gold turn for them though, right there, just in those kills.
and the XP had quite a dip too.
Right, but still just weighted very heavily in Charlotte's Fury. That fight was a misplay for them, just because of how it turned out, but they still have a definite lead over the Chosen Guan so far.
Which, if I'm chosen Guans and I'm looking to get back into this game, I'm looking to safe farm, look for fights like they did where we can get out ahead and then get another
Honestly,
objective.
if I'm them right now, we just don't. Yeah, the Pyro. The Pyro's what I'm calling. We see the mid laner was backing. They didn't see that he stayed when that wave died. I would have assumed that he backed. The Wukong goes ahead and goes and scouts it. Doesn't see anything as they pull off.
Pick up your feet.
Stay a while, will you?
And this is 16-minute solo lane. We're just gonna clear and look at each other casually. Guan's looking to invade red buff, but they see it's not there for him. And look, I mean, it's very possible. If you start grabbing all this neutral farm like they're doing now, you could pull the gold lead back.
Oh yeah, they're 2 towers down, so you know that's gonna be a lot of it.
Right.
and probably picking up a kill on the Janus in the mid lane, which is very big.
Right. Can we get some itemization on this Kali? Where is she at now?
Which this is a big fight. This is definitely what you
Kali
need to be
jumps
looking
in.
for.
There you go. Down goes the Awelix to just the mass rotation.
So yeah, if I'm choosing Guans, I'm just looking to keep getting these picks and slowly building the lead back in our favor or getting it back to neutral.
Because
And
the
then this
Kali
fire
has
will help.
the Kins done now, so she's doing damage to everyone. If I'm Charlotte Fury, I'm like, guys, we gotta stop getting picked. Really? If this ADC fight goes the way of chosen Guans, they're gonna take a fat
Here,
lead.
there should be another pick down onto the Sobek, and now this Kali is
Right.
starting to run the map.
What will be the saving grace is if the Rama starts coming to these fights. That is a large man, 5-0. They need somebody to equivalate this Kali out. He's
Which
level 18 right now, so you know the
already
moment he
has a
starts
silver
showing up,
branch online.
right? 3 stacks just passively walking around. When he procs his 2 and gets that 60-70% attack speed, he's gonna be swinging.
And if I'm Sobek, I'm either getting the Shoguns, which it looks like he's going to be building into Talisman.
Right, so the talisman will definitely come in nice. And then if he could maybe I don't think he's gonna build the Shoguns this. Honestly, with that build, I'm not seeing it.
I'm not either. I'd be asking my Wukong to build it, which
Right, I would be
would
asking the
played.
I like that pick up into the Kali. Because you see who the problem child is right now. Kali leading the damage boards by a good 2k off the closest nearest target.
Hold still, please. A new threshold.
What I don't like seeing is just the low damage coming out of the Scylla. I mean, we've seen a lot of missed abilities, and that right there is evidence enough. Dylan now has to ult away if she gets poked out. Wukong ult dropping onto Dummy Slick, and he will fall. That's a great kill for Charlotte Fury. That's the target now. Scylla just too low level, not really hitting hard enough. Just take out the Kali, and we have a lot less to worry about. This Oni Fury is a great pickup for Charlotte Fury. That's gonna put a lot of pressure and alleviate their push for Fire Giant. As Wukong back there just zoning like the man he is. Doesn't really have a lot of protections online, but the chosen Guans, just the XP difference right now is they're not really big enough to cut him down to size.
So I'm actually not a fan of the Pridwin when you're behind. I feel it doesn't offer enough, especially on Ymir, which because you're
Right,
looking
just
for
not
drop
enough.
and tank damage.
Not enough flat stats. Also, we see 2 Sunders coming out versus the 1 Sunder on Charlotte Fury, and we see Horrific, but no sprint picked up by Charlotte Fury, so that Horrific's really going to have a large effect.
So this Horrific and the Frenzy are gonna counteract each other, kind of with the attack speed type of deal. But that movement speed slow, that is a lot to deal with.
Yeah, that's going to hurt, because there's no cleanses available without popping beads, and we see the Frenzy coming out. Ardio's here going to pluck into the... That's really where Ardio wants to live. I'm surprised that pluck came out. The Giannis ult coming through, the Charlotte Fury's
That's one pick.
Oh no. Scylla's just not able to do enough damage at this point in
Rama
time.
is just shredding.
And like I
everything.
said, when he starts showing up in fights, it's going to be a bad time for the Chosen Guans. Meanwhile, if we look to the left lane, there is sabotage afoot. As the split push comes in, he's going to back after grabbing those Wukong's attention.
Which
This
that's
this
the
Phoenix
Apollo
is
special.
right, this Phoenix is going down though, as neither Scylla nor Apollo are gonna get there in time to save it. Those Rama autos hitting for almost 200 a pop.
Which
This
Rama
is
is already level 20. He's 8-0.
what do you think he's buying here? Executioner?
I would say either X or Quinsize.
Right.
Maybe an Aussie to give himself.
Well,
a
yeah, he has no
life.
lifesteal, so I'm actually gonna call the Aussie pickup here. You see when he procs his 2, he's at 36 stacks on that silver branch.
And then he can also upgrade his starter, which that gives like 30% attack speed,
I
right?
believe you're right on that. So he's gonna be sitting at a lot of attack speed right there. Oh no. Amish is lucky he didn't just turn and pluck him right there. That would have been a very dead Ymir. We see even more damage coming out of the Wukong as these two tanks try and defend this tower. This is a humongous misplay on their part.
The beats down on the Rama, and Rama just doing so much damage. They can't even
Right.
get on him.
No, Kali coming in, but she's gonna take a lot of damage from that Sobek ult. The Wukong's gonna go in the air, land on the tanks. We're gonna see Ardio falls first.
Oh,
The Giannis ult smacking. Oh no. Good Aegis coming out of the Scylla, able to Aegis that last barrage shot.
What a great plug. And here comes the Scylla ulti.
It's just not enough. She doesn't have the damage online yet. She's level 16. That's a level 15 Sobek, but he's on the winning team, built into his magical protection item now. Has Fire Giant regen going. Definitely had his passive going right there. Just a tanky boy. And that's true damage out of the Scylla. I mean, that's 3 pen items.
If I am red side, I'm definitely looking to kind of have my Ymir and Ardio dive back with the Kali and just try to kill this Rama.
Yeah, the Rama has to go. Nobody else is
once-
as spooky as he is right now.
Once you get the Rama dead, then all of their sustained damage is gone because you're dealing with the burst from Janus, and Awilix is pretty bursty too.
Right, but the Giannis abilities are at least something you could dodge relatively effectively, and the Awilix is something that the Ardio just negates completely if she's on top of her.
Which we're looking at 11.
But just look how spread the Guans are right now, though. They are in no position to defend this
Oh
siege.
no,
Yep, that's gonna be a dead Holly. That's unfortunate.
that is the one.
I don't-
You did not need to get picked there.
Right,
Yeah, I'd be calling the end after this, honestly.
Yep, Frenzy comes out once again. She ults,
Oh no.
but it's on the Sobek. Once again, hasn't been able to take him down with that all game. I would have liked to have seen that on a carry, and this is gonna be the end of game 1. That Charlotte Fury is just gonna DPS down this Titan. Yeah, this Apollo's trying. There's just nothing he can do. There's too much damage coming out.
That Rama was he was
Right. That was after that triple kill very early on in the mid lane. That really cemented his victory. The Apollo just couldn't take him in the 1v1 after that. And as soon as he started coming to the fights, the Kali wasn't nearly big enough to counteract him.
So blue side definitely did what they had to. They got their late game ADC online.
This is
And-
very much protect the president. That is Rama.
And then they were doing a very good job with the Helix. They got a few good picks out of that.
Right, those ultimates just grabbing whoever was knocked up and putting him in a terrible position.
And they did a good job of shutting down the Kali when Kali looking.
I actually really liked the starter item pickup from the Wukong. You see a lot like to go into that blue bluestone pickup, the damage one. I don't really like that. That corrupted gemstone. Yeah, corrupted bluestone. Just the debuffs that puts on people is insane. 20% attack speed debuff. Then you gain the attack speed. That's brutal under the Kali in combination with like that Witchblade.
Which if we look at damage numbers too, Kali did significantly more than her counterpart. But
Right.
then that's kind of counteracted by the Scylla and Janus, and Rama was just head and shoulders above everybody.
Correct. And I mean that's not something you want to see coming out. Lowest damage on your jungler. That's a little yikes to see. Out of PK2 Elite.
Which, so if I'm blue side, I'm feeling pretty good about that game. Kind of felt out the enemy team. Rama has to be like really feeling himself going 11-0 in the first game of the night. I know if I was in his shoes, I'd be like, really, really ballsy.
And honestly, if I'm choosing Guans here, we put 50% of our bans into Telly the Basin.
Yeah,
We,
and
you cannot ban out Telly the Basin. Like, I'm sorry. This guy obviously has too many ADCs that he is quite competent with to be the focus of your ban roster. So if I'm choosing Guans, I'm picking somebody else to try and go after because he's not the guy. You're gonna waste bans when he's comfortable with a myriad of ADCs.
but there's also there's another school of thought of that. If we force him into something he may not be as good with, so if he's known for like his RDO or not RDO, Artemis on her.
On her, right?
If we can force him into something he may not be as comfortable as those
I don't.
two.
I don't think we have enough bans for that.
I'm just saying, like, if we can, like, say they're more comfortable facing a Rama than they are on her, that works better in your favor, even if he's good at that
That's
god.
true. Or you take the power play. You pass all bans and you just bring in as many OP characters as you can.
That's true. You can do that this season.
That's what I would recommend. If I'm them, that's what I recommend. If we can't ban him out, we'll just bring in better characters.
Just pass everything. Try to let because something's gonna get through, whether it
Ex-
be that Morgan, that
exactly.
Tiamat, the Gilgamesh.
Exactly. If we can't take him out with character selection, we'll take him out with god choices. We'll just bring stronger gods to the table.
Which, if I'm red side, I'm definitely talking with my jungler to kind of sit more duo side.
It completely sit duo side. You saw the solos were a slap fight. Nobody was gonna die. Pitch a tent. He needs to go down. He needs to not come online. And I mean, they kept him down pretty well until that mid-lane rotation came out, and then it was just downhill from there.
I'm also looking at Amish to maybe pick something a little more mobile. So it felt like a few times he was getting caught in the transition when his team was trying to retreat.
Right, and I mean, Ymir's like any other mobile character, you're very much committed to whatever engagement your team takes. Because you will be the last man to leave just because of your generic movement speed and your lack of mobility.
And there were a lot of good slows coming out of Charlotte Fury because we saw multiple times where he tried to walk over his wall and was getting caught on the wrong side.
Right, because he had the Sobek ult slow, that got him once. He had the Wukong 2 slow, that got him once. Excuse me, not the Wukong slow. Wukong was on his team.
Rama also has slows on his one.
Right.
Janus has a slow with his threshold.
Right. If I'm Charlotte Fury, I would be working with my jungler to play something that they're a little bit more experienced with. Just with the combos that were coming out of the Awilix in that last game, they weren't optimized as they could have been.
So first ban coming out as this set, and then we
They
see
don't
the
want
honor.
to see. Honestly, if I'm Charlotte Fury, I'm saying we're gonna pick who we're gonna ban out on Guan's team, because chosen Guans are just looking at those ADC bans. A Loki ban coming out.
Hmm. What kind of draft are you trying to draft if you're on the red side?
I'm on the red side. Honestly, their problem isn't draft. Their problem is players. So they had the double guardian, which was working out. They just didn't have the DPS to combat to pick up with it. The Scylla just wasn't farmed enough to be able to kill whoever she was hitting. The Apollo was just that much behind the Rama that he wasn't able to shred who was getting. The Kali pickup was nice and it was doing the work definitely whenever the Rama wasn't there. Like she was definitely able to just kill whoever was ever in front of her. That mid game almost turned against Charlotte Fury
Yeah, they
because
were
of it.
doing a good job of getting picks more towards the mid late game too.
Right.
Which we see the Morgan ban and the Wukong ban.
What?
And then there's the first pick on the Gilgamesh.
Yeah, when you ban Wukong, that's what you're gonna get. That's That's a very strong character.
With Athena Sobek. Which one? Do you think Sobek's going over to the solo, or do you think Athena's going over to the jungle?
Wisdom
Me
should
I
be
believe
my
the best
think
shield.
movie.
solo Beck with Athena support.
And then there's the Fafnir pickup. And do they pick the Artemis here is the question. Because you have Fafnir, Gilgamesh, and if you get the Artemis, that's a very strong
Right.
3-4.
I don't pick the Artemis here. I pick something that can dash, personally. But with as strong as his Artemis is, and how comfortable he is on it, he might just do it anyway. He's definitely not scared of anyone on the chosen Guans' team.
Which it seems like that's what they're talking about, is what to pick here, which it wouldn't be bad getting your mid. Oh, which they are running back the Rama.
Yep. I mean, I like to see that. You get the Fafnir steroid now. You have a dash. You have an ult just to buy time for your team to get to you, in case that Athena decides to rotate over at any point. You could go into your astral barrage and you just chill there for a good 3-4 seconds, giving your jungler maybe your support time to come and help you out.
And they're bringing the Scylla back.
I mean, taunt the crush is a bad day.
That too. I would have liked to see like a Poseidon in that slot, truthfully.
Sign's good. Cripple the Rama when he goes up. I mean, just the general.
Cripple, the way you can kind of just zone really hard. Because Scylla you can zone, but when you throw Whirlpool down and then you throw Kraken down, you have a lot of time you can
Yep.
buy for your Guardian skin position.
I can tell you for a fact, Lynn does not have Poseidon in her.
I was gonna say
her
that's what
role.
I was gonna say. I'm like, Lynn's kind of restricted in what she can play better, and I didn't think she had a Poseidon in her repertoire.
I don't know these players that well. I
Uh,
apologize.
I literally lived with her for 8 months.
Okay. Which the Odin ban, the Janus ban, and the Artemis ban. With the Danza Baru as well.
Yep. I mean, just talking about what fights Rama, that does. Those two characters can fight him really well. I foresee a Raijin coming out of Charlotte Fury as their mid.
I like the Cupid here.
You
Big
do?
circles, like they are building straight team fight, and I'm a big fan because that's what I feel like they should have done.
Well,
Need to do.
this you already know that Tully the Basin has the edge as the two ADCs in the general matchup. So you pick the character that just does something else. You're not looking to kill the Rama because you're not going to be able to effectively do it. The Ardio coming out for Charlotte Fury, they saw what it looked like and they want a piece
Well,
of it.
I know Atticus has a very strong RDO. He
Oh,
played
yeah.
that in the game we played against him.
Yeah, he loves Ardio.
Yeah, especially
And
after
hey, there's your ISIS.
finally, I've been wanting to see ISIS all season, and nobody has humored me. ISIS brings so much CC to the table.
And plus that big circle.
Don't pick Sir Ken the RDO, good friend. You're better than that. Don't do it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Circuit here.
Don't do it.
They're just gonna run into an issue of when the Circuit tries to go in, ISIS ult, ISIS silence, RDO cripple, Fafnir stun.
Yeah, because you got to think you have.
You're gonna
The-
get kicked into a wall. Like there's a
Yes.
lot
This is one
of.
tale
Sir
you
Ken is
don't
not
want
the
to
choice.
chase down.
Hunbats.
Yeah, I would have liked to see them go full team fight with the
Shit.
Himbats.
Yeah, no.
Or even the Thor. I felt like Thor could have been very good into this team as well.
Yeah, Thor wouldn't have been bad. I mean, Sir Ken was not the play here, friends. We shall see how that works out for them. I could be wrong.
But Circuit can run a game even if you draft the counter.
That's true.
Circuit.
I mean, she can taunt a set out of Wing Gust, so she could taunt pretty much the whole team out of their mobility.
grabs and throws them with them some displacement. They have 2 displacement, now 3 displacement gods with Sobek, Athena, and Serket. Putting people where they don't want to be is a terrible thing to happen to you in Smite. And we think the Chosen Guans has a lot of way to burn actives. Sobek Pluck, Athena Taunt, Scylla Root, Cupid Ult, Serket, Taunt and Ult. But so does Charlotte Fury. Kick, Hammer, Astral Cripple, several of Ardio's abilities.
So if we're just going off of team comps, I like
Charlotte Fury.
yeah.
Yeah, nah.
Not even players, just god picks.
Yeah, just got
So
this.
back to with the jungle though. I feel like Serket also has a disconnect with her team though, because she's a deep diver in between Sobek and Athena.
Mm.
They're
They-
divers, but they're not deep divers.
Right. Like they very much drafted a team fight comp, and that doesn't fit into it very well.
And then you throw a god who thrives again as deep into the enemy backline as they can get. Whereas if you pick the Humbats could comfortably fight right next to the Sobek and Athena.
Right. And I mean he still has deep dive potential with being able to teleport to the monkey now.
Yep.
So let's look. Solo Beck coming out as we predicted. Just gonna pick up that Vamp Shroud and get all those potions online versus the Ardio. The Ardio's actually probably gonna win clear just because she has stand switch.
Oh, Ardio wins that lane. Hands
Yeah.
down.
She chose not to go for the chalice, but already got smacked. Oh nope, takes it back. Thought about it, wanted the chalice. Makes sense. It's gonna be a Gilgamesh jungle rushing Frostbound probably out the gate.
So if I'm the jungles, I'm definitely looking for this to be a duo focus match because Sobek Ardio, they're not going to kill each other. You're not going to kill them. Just let them slapbox and farm.
Pretty much. And I mean, the gank scenario we're probably looking at is the Serket gank gets the Rama rollout. Cupid ult's gonna go down, you're gonna get the Rama ult in return. And if nobody comes to help him by the time he lands, he's in trouble.
Which we're looking at the mana pot versus the multi pot again. Other than that, everything's pretty standard.
I like the sprint coming out of the Athena. I would have actually liked to seen a sprint come out of the Fafnir. I mean, he does very well with Sunder, don't get me wrong. But just to negate that Cupid ult, just pop sprint, everybody runs out of it real quick, and then we re-engage.
If I'm Amish there, I'm honestly going sprint 2. Just because that gas pedal can be very, very
But look how they just seed that wave pressure though.
And the Serket, we're seeing that early gank again. Oh no, and Serket falls to the Gilgamesh counter gank.
Oh, once again, the Scylla didn't hit level 2. See how there's 3 archers still there. There's she there. You gotta clear that. That's twice now that we've seen that early game dummy slick just putting the pressure in nasty, and Kakarot's fully not there to capitalize off of it. Doing a good job of stacking those.
Gilgamesh looking for another early gank onto the duo lane. With Fafnir going in.
And Sunder coming out.
Taunt coming down. I don't
That's
think
good.
she has dash.
That's a sprint. She'll have it though. Maybe,
No,
potentially.
she's level 2. She never hit 3. And she got her taunt. So
Oh, yep.
taunt.
She's running to the mid lane, asking for
Lane.
help. There's the blink. She's gonna go down right here. And that is Amish. Goodbye, friend.
And this game is very similar to how the last game is going.
Extremely so.
Which in the RDO getting ganked and is just not
Just-
going to be scared.
No, I mean with those early protections from the Vamp Shroud.
Well, Vamp Shroud plus she did her 2, which I think level 1 gets like 10 prod on top of that, maybe 20.
And just look at her just thriving in the wave, just doesn't care. Gonna get the heal from her 1 in the human stance.
And the heal from the 1 is very deceptive, especially after you hit that first person.
Right, and that's like look at all the healing she's just getting from hitting all those minions with all those abilities because it procs once per ability. So there it goes again, ticking all the way back up. Just able to fight extremely well. I mean, but we already see a thousand gold difference at 2.5 minutes, coming up to the 3-minute mark.
Which is definitely not where you want to be.
Not at all. This is probably a
and here
dead
comes the
Scylla.
solo kill.
Yep,
That's
there it
unfortunate.
is. You don't want to see that because in the head, Isis will dominate the mid lane extremely hard.
Which she's already level 5. She's 101. She's feeling really good about herself.
Yep, I'm just gonna come in here taunting, maybe looking for the Circuit to come help her out. There it is. Drop the ult.
Isis ult. Oh.
Oh, it's not gonna be enough. As Dummy Slick is gonna pick up the kill. Does he have an item? No, I didn't think it was actually gonna be enough to finish him right there.
Which that kill was very big for the Cat. It allowed her to kind of get
Huge.
back into this game. Gilgamesh
Huge.
is already working for his Frostbound. Which Cupid actually has the pressure in this lane too.
He does now, but it's only because of minions. Jotun's has been finished on the Circuit. It's the first finished item we see on anyone so far. Haunt, Spirit Ball. Is there an Isis ult to be had here? Not quite. Beads coming out of the Isis. Grab her. There you go. This should be a very dead Isis right here. Great Spirit Ball. Oh, Cat Girl, please. At some point, you gotta hit one of those. It's alright. We might see it. Oh, the kick coming out. Great, but it might not be enough. That is Blink down, taunt down. He doesn't have the Frostbound finish yet, and she's gonna get her dash here in a second or two, but it's not gonna matter as she will go down. PK2. I think PK2 needs gods that are like this, that are more combat initiate focused, as opposed to somebody that relies there and just waits like he plays the Wheelix. Like Gilgamesh is definitely an in-your-face type of person.
Gilgamesh is, I'm gonna jump over this wall, either kick you back towards my team, kick you into a wall, and just fight you.
You're right.
And even with his ultimate, it's like a semi-Odin cage that bounces you back in. It's like you're gonna come into the
Oh, and this is what I was talking about. There's nothing Amish could do to stop this Isis from just doing that to Scylla. And the Isis rushed the Spear of the Magus, so just that increased damage is pumping out too. Yeah.
And plus, we talked about the Fafnir extra damage on the 2s. So yes, they have a Rama, but putting that on your Isis when she has Wing Gust going, or
It's
even
gonna
a
hurt.
Spirit Ball,
It's a good taunt. There's gonna be an ult.
and here comes the taunt. Oh,
Oh,
is it enough? The taunt
Taunt.
retrial? Got it.
there it is. And down goes the ice. And I mean, that happens to Isis just as much as well. Once you get jumped on, it gets very hairy for you very quickly, especially when you have all that CC. That's a double taunt coming out.
Fafnir just jumping through the wall. I love it.
Yellow
Just
Jin
by
goes
himself
burr.
up the wall.
Yellow Jin goes burr at the red buff. Oh, heart bomb stun. Out of the basin knowing full well that after the next item he doesn't lose that boxing match anymore. But it is double the time of what we talked about last time, 3 minutes. We are at 6 minutes now, and it's a 2k goal lead for Charlotte Fury.
Yes, we're averaging 1,000 gold above the other minute.
Right. Yellow Jin, get in there and tank that buddy. You're the big man with the hammer.
Which, if we look, blue team, Charlotte Fury, all above all the other members, with the exception of that kill that the Circuit just got.
Right.
Which Amish is doing a very, very good job of farming. He is second highest net worth on his team. Which a lot of that has to do with benevolence, but at the same time, is a support. When you start getting farm like that, you start hurting your carries a bit.
Well, and don't sleep on the fact that Amish has the highest kills on his team right now.
Yes.
So that's definitely a lot of extra money in the sports
Amish
pocket.
is sitting at 100% kill participation right now. Him and the Circuit both.
And that's 75% on the ISIS. As she has almost all the deaths on Charlotte Fury's team.
This ISIS is just not giving this Scylla a chance. Oh,
No, but here's the beads. That's a great
that
circuit.
girl.
She's dead. I mean, they traded out there, but just this ISIS is gonna start falling behind. They know they need Lyn to come out and just get some farm, so they've put this ISIS in the ground the last 2 times she's come back to lane.
Which that's kind of, from the games I've watched for the Chosen Guans, that's been a common strategy for them, is protect this mid laner. So by protecting the mid laner, they allow that damage to kind of move.
Yeah, but my whole problem is you're protecting the mid laner who's gonna fall here, and she hasn't made any progress. She's still bottom of the net worth board, while ISIS is still second highest in the game with 4 deaths. ISIS has been dead the majority of the last 3 minutes. And we might see a Sobek get picked here, potentially. Fun fact there, I'm buffing and diving. The Circuit's gonna be here. That's a good punt. The taunt, great taunt out of Circuit actually. Probably might have saved the Sobek, but no, he is gonna go down here.
That's a very, very hard to kill off though.
Right, and once again, now we have all this Ardio cripple stopping all the abilities for coming out of Circuit as she just...
Gilgamesh.
No, Circuit is big. She does have the full Jotun's finished, and we see Athena all inbound. This is going to be a very dead Ardio as the second comes out. There it is! There it is, boys and girls.
Which
No,
is-
all,
This is an interesting fact we haven't touched on yet, is both these comps are double Guardian.
yes, they are. This is going to be a lot of beefcakes slapping at each other. Well, it's going to be up to the carries to get in position and kill the opposing carries just so you can wear down those Guardians.
That's, and like peeling, and it's gonna come down to how well the Guardian's position.
We see an oboe coming out second from Cupid here, as opposed to the Atlantis bow that generally gets picked up in that second item slot.
So maybe he's just looking to fight attack speed for attack speed because he doesn't have an inbuilt steroid like the Rama does.
True. I mean, he has some heart sustains. I mean, he uses his 3 that gives him some attack speed, right?
That's true, but if you
But
got
that's his dash, exactly. So yeah,
do I want to blow the dash to be able to fight you?
not at all.
Attack speed.
Not at all.
And I don't think it's very much.
Oh, this is gonna be a dead
Very
Scylla
fair,
potentially. Yep, and there she's gonna go down. Do they have that warded? Kind of, but not really. That was a blindside spirit ball right to the face.
Which I'm sure they heard the fear.
Oh, I'm sure they did
hard
too. They
people
heard of the
started.
abilities, and then you're generally gonna be right there in that corner as a mid when you're clearing. Circuit getting her jungle invaded, potentially looking to do something here. She says, "Get off my red buff." Cupid gonna come over. That the Cupid all coming down? Maybe.
Oh, with the silence down on the Cupid.
He has it up. I'm very surprised we didn't see a Fields of Love come out right there, because the Gilgamesh jumped in place. Like that would have been the perfect moment to drop it. Sprint coming out of Amish, but I think it's gonna be to no avail as they're gonna just run around in that tower.
Here's one thing I notice in games: when teams fall behind, they stop wanting to take fight.
Yeah, you can't just seed all pressure. We see the Isis ult coming out actually as
I would
Scylla
have
ult
dropped that
comes
gold
out.
Fury there.
If I'm Scylla, I'm turning around. Look at your backline. Ah,
That was
that's
some damage. She hit it at least onto the Gilgamesh, which Sobek
Right.
right here too. He walks out.
Rama is up. Damage. There we go. Telly the Basin pulling out his best Marvel's impressions and taking out the Sobek. Oh, that's a second one for Telly. Elgin picks up a throw. This is gonna be a dead. Oh, yeah. Triple kill. Another triple kill. Now we're gonna see the gold lead jump once again.
Rama
Good job.
rotates over to one side and picks up the triple, and then very
Good job.
similar to what happened last game.
Not different at all from what happened last game, actually. Just in every instance.
Which, like, as I was saying at that red buff, I would have looked to fight there.
Yeah, so would
I'm
I. You
glad
definitely had the numbers there for a minute. You had the abilities over the enemy team.
If you throw the Fields of Love there, they all either have to come over the wall or walk around. So you have time to burst that Gilgamesh who's now stuck
Right.
in that big field.
And then you just take the win and leave. You might have lost your red buff, but you got a kill. Like that's a win for you.
And even if you back off and they decide to start the Gold Fury again, you have a numbers advantage and you can press
Right.
back in. You still have Scylla ulti.
Right. I mean, but now that we've seen some of these Scylla ults start connecting, she's well above the damage where she was last game with that Scylla.
And that's just something I've noticed. A lot of teams, when they get behind, they stop looking to take fights.
That's a good kick. Get that Athena ult off of him. I don't know if it's going to be enough though as Ardio comes in and she's just going to stop this fight altogether. I mean, if you look at the build on that Gilgamesh, look how much health that man has on deck. Frostbound, Emperors, and Bubble. That is ridiculous. He's probably sitting at mid 2000 right now.
Love the Emperor's armor pickup as we see this fight starting to wind down.
Yeah,
Emperor's
mid to
armor,
2400.
I feel, and they are still fighting. The Gilgamesh is in the middle of it and taking so much damage.
Right, he just
Only
like
the Basin takes down Cupid. They are still fighting with the Sobek ult down. He's gonna
right,
get
but
free.
their only chance of damage right now is Lyn on this Scylla. That's a good Sikkim, but she's not level 13 yet. Doesn't have that AOE route available to her.
But Emperor's armor is really, really good, especially with how the Charlotte Fury has been fighting.
Right,
Now
diving.
that Gilgamesh can either follow back behind the Fafnir Ardio and let them tank tower longer, or he can just jump in, and that's going to allow him to take 2 or 3 less tower shots than he normally would during a dive.
Right. And I mean, that's honestly a perfect build for him. What Circuit Ultimate does is true damage, but it's based off of maximum health. So if you just have more health, it's less effective on you.
And they're going to have a harder time peeling him off now too, because he has that bubble.
Exactly.
Which Sobek is a very, very good counter initiator, because when people jump on you, you can just tail whip. And you push him back that distance. But now he gets through that tail whip, he gets through the taunt in the opposite direction.
Right, and we see Isis coming out with the lifesteal build here, so she's gonna have a lot better sustainability. She's gonna be rocking when she gets one more assist or kill, she'll have her passive come online, giving her that 10% increased CDR, so she'll be sitting at 20%.
Which
And
this Ardio is doing a lot of damage too for being a Guardian, being top in the game right now.
Right, well that's Soul Gem just on top of all her other healing in the Vamp Shroud, just lifestealing. She's
And if I'm this Ardio after I finish, maybe that's gonna be a mystical, maybe. After I finish that, I'm going E-Staff. They got 2 Guardians on their team. Let me get
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Which interesting pickup out of the Athena too. Oh, which they are diving this.
That is a dead Isis once again. They're just not giving him any relief.
Which if we look at Amish's build, he went Spirit Deso second.
He did what now? What?
And the Rama picking up the Scylla, they're continuing to look for this fight. There's that Emperor's armor proccing on the tower.
Right, look out! Look,
there, but the Fields of
that's
Love
a
comes
good. That's a
in.
good Fields of Love. It's not going to be enough. As the Ardio just comes in, Cupid can't dash away because of the cripple.
And Rama is just over, standing in the side between the towers, dumping damage.
This is going to be a T2 for them. This might be a Phoenix if they press their advantage.
I definitely would. Cause
I would too.
Pushing again.
Oh, look at him.
Yeah.
That's Athena dash in the wrong direction, and she actually. Oh, she is gonna get away.
Scylla
So
ult. Oh, great Scylla ult.
there it is. There it is. When those Scylla ults actually connect, you can see how devastating they can be. And that's the end of that Phoenix Siege. However, fire very much on the table now that there is no Scylla ult to stop it.
Yeah, I would have done fire instead of the pyro here.
So would I.
But I mean, pyro's the safe call. You can't fault them for that.
No,
Get a
no,
little
not at
extra
all. We
gold.
definitely don't know where the
Yeah.
rest of that team is. You saw the Sobek and Wright pretty close by. You know he would have heard you doing it.
Yeah. And definitely, they didn't have deep enough wards to warrant that either.
No, no, not
Like
at
they had
all.
wards around the
It was a very smart call not doing the fire giant there. But the Silver Branch Bow now coming online for that Rama, and you're just gonna see him take off with damage from now on. We also see that Fafnir has the Talisman. Once again, didn't choose to go Shoguns, which is fine. Talisman gives better stats to the whole team than a Shoguns does.
The movement speed's nice, but I like sometimes just the consistent attack speed is nice though.
Yeah, that's
Because
That's
if you're
fair.
in a jungle fight and you don't have your talisman stacked, you have to wait for the first kill before it kind of becomes stacked.
yeah, that's true.
And if you have shoguns, it's just there.
That is true. We see the frenzy coming out, so they can just burst down this Gold Fury. This is going to be an Oni wave, giving them the pressure once again to do Fire Giant almost for free, because they will have to send people off to go stop those Oni waves.
But yes, Spirideso, Amish kind of knew, like, okay, we got 2 guardians, I can get away, we need a little bit more damage. Let me see what I can do with this item.
He's trolling. My man is trolling.
Which he likes weird builds though, we'll give him that.
Yeah, he does. We also see the Cupid deviating from the standard build, decides to pick up an Executioner there.
Comes the Athena ult coming down, Serket running at the enemy team, Ardio getting rooted out, Gilgamesh coming in with the ult, and Chosen Guans again fighting on the back foot.
Right, they're just that far behind though, like, if that Spirit Ball would have connected, that would have been a bad day. If I'm Chosen Guans, I'm setting Sobek back to full heal and just maintaining vision. Charlie Fury is looking for this fight.
Oh, that's a great
A
taunt.
great taunt out of Amish right there to pull off. And he
away.
dashes away. Serket though is gonna go down. It's Telly the Basin now just wailing now that he's in these team fights. And Van Herk is gonna go down as well. That's gonna be a free Fire Giant.
So this is the disconnect we've kind of seen both games, which Athena taunting off the Ardio, where Chosen Guans just seems split every fight. And then having something like the Serket, she was trying to get onto that ISIS.
I just think their communication has a default somewhere. And it's just very evident by how these fights are going.
And ISIS ult securing.
Yeah.
Which it just seems like their fights are uncoordinated. They're never so they were all under the T2. 3 people went down towards the blue buff, and yet 3 people ended up by those back furies on the way left side towards mid. Their fights are just so split, and when you're behind, you don't want to take split fights on deck because you're not going to win.
You have to target focus with all of you because you're behind.
And when you're this far behind, you don't win the 2v1. You lose that 2v1, especially if it's against like the Gilgamesh. The Ardio will just buy time against you. You're never going to burst her down.
Right, you saw the Ardio decides to pick up a Divine there. That's rude. That's just rude. I think we're gonna see a Shoguns out of Athena, if I'm being honest.
Either Shoguns or I'd be a
And
fan of
Onis?
Onis here.
Yeah, but as you see, the Shoguns is gonna be picked up here. Itemization, it's kind of strange. I do like the Relic Dagger out of Serket. Not what she needed though. Her kill potential just went kind of down with that. And we see an Executioner picked up on the Cupid as opposed to the Silver Branch Bow. Which, once again, I'm just... Why?
The Fafnir's doing it. That Fafnir's either going E-Staff or Gem. And either way,
Yes. If it's a Gem, I'm a huge fan. I love seeing Gem on Fafnir. As soon as you buff that Rama, all his autos regularly are going to slow down. That's going to be ridiculous. On top of the Frostbound slow, your Gilgamesh autos will slow even more. Oh, no.
Biggest advice I have for Olin, the fight begins, Gilgamesh diving straight into the backline onto the
Oh,
Scylla.
that's good. So was
Getting
able to
thrown into
dodge
the
it,
wave,
but the
Fafnir
crush
ult
is
coming
not
down.
good.
Frenzy
If we
being
can...
popped.
Oh no!
Steals
Oh,
the glove.
Ice Assault negating. Sobek just gets caught out too deep as he leaves that Phoenix.
They just cannot get past the front line.
Nope.
Gilgamesh, RDO, Fafnir is just so
Uh,
aggressive in this
Kelly
game.
the
right now.
Basin doing his best Marvel's impression will pick up that kill with the snipe.
Like
So
they
it has
they put a lot of focus into this ISIS, but the Rama just crept along like doing
once
consistent
again,
damage.
and that is going to end the set with game 2 going to Charlotte Fury.
So yeah, very very strong performance out of Charlotte Fury. They're a very solid team. They know where their strengths are and they play around those strengths. The chosen Guans just felt like uncoordinated, disconnected, not really talking with each other. It kind of looked like a casual going up against a 5 stack, in my opinion.
Very, very much so.
Can I just say though?
What's up?
Wonderful, finally, finally. A game Atticus control and win.
He was definitely having fun with that build.
I was a fan of his King Arthur with Soul Eater, let me tell you.
I mean, see, one of the things that I always find interesting is some people have talked about, like, if you are a guardian in the solo lane, if you get Divine Ruin, that just helps out everybody on your
It
team.
does.
It does.
And that means your E-set or your mid laner just doesn't have to build that item. So it's like
So
Bob's your uncle. It's a
one
great
thing,
item, IMO.
even when I do a support, sometimes like if I'm really far ahead or I feel
Mhm.
like our team needs a certain thing, I'll pick up a Pythags in like that same slot or a Divine.
Mhm.
Right,
Just
something just
something.
for the team.
Mhm.
Yeah, like if it's something where like, oh, we might need this, but I don't really want to build it, I'll go, oh, I'll build it. All my defense is already online. Like I'm core build, so I can fit that in there.
Yeah,
It's
totally.
just and like Wolfman was saying, there is some sort of disconnect in the cohesion with the chosen Guans. I don't know if it's because they're just doing some player shuffles or new players to the group. But if
Yeah.
I'm them, the main thing I want to work with is communication amongst my players.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think it's communication. I think sometimes it's actual realization. You know, like when it comes to Lynn at the mid lane. Um, I've kind of unfortunately spoiled her, in many ways because I would be the jungler anytime we'd be playing casuals, and I just tell her what to do, and she just follow me, most of the time,
And
and
that's
it comes down to like I think team what's the word? I'm gonna say harmony because I can't think of the word I want to say.
Cohesion.
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 Um, yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, I just think like she's not on the same page, because Dummy Slick plays a very aggressive jungle. She's not used to that. I think that plays a factor too. Definitely, I think two things. One is that the Charlotte Fury excellently got them apart in team fights, especially in that game
Yes.
too. They just zoned them out from each
Prime,
other because
prime
they
example.
they had so much stuff to move people around.
Damn,
That T2
apparently
fight.
we have to say ESET.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. That's my
That's our age showing in the
yeah,
game.
no, yeah, that's just habit calling it the other one.
Yeah.
I apologize.
It's fine. But yeah, like both the Charlotte Fury did excellently separate the enemy team, but also at the same time there was definitely a lot of cohesion problems there. Calls where people either disobeyed them or ignored them, or calls weren't being made to back off of certain things or to posture in a certain way. They just kind of felt a little bit off, like not totally, but just enough that it just became overwhelming over time because there are very strong players on the other side. Kittens at this point is a seasoned mid laner. He's not a master, of course, but um, he's spent a lot of hours and has played a lot of QSL before this season. And Atticus, of course, in the solo lane is something to be reckoned with whenever he's not trolling. But even here, He was able to just have fun and experiment, it seems, and some things worked out for sure.
And there's
But I mean, if we could talk about just like builds, let's look at it like this. Ardio goes into the Genjis. That's 40 MP5 health and magical defense out the gate on top of CDR. As opposed to a Void Stone. Honestly, she got way more boxing potential out of that item than he did out of the Void Stone.
Yeah, for sure. I also want to address King Cooter said Telly is their strength. For sure. Telly's the background strength though. Like sure he went 10-0, but everyone else did their job perfectly. Like he was
yeah,
untouched.
Yeah.
that was the thing. Telly was just able to sit there and do damage. No one was able to get back to him. And like as I said at the end of the game, he just kind of quietly crept up to 10-0 because all of the standout plays were coming out of like the Gilgamesh, the Eset,
Mm-hmm.
the Fafnir Ardio. Like he was just able to have free reign of the map and do whatever he wanted.
Yeah,
He
for the
he
Like
most
I
just
part
don't
he
think I
didn't even
saw a
rotate.
fight.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I don't think I saw a fight where he dropped below a quarter HP.
yeah, like
yeah, he's just able to free cast, just
Yeah.
sitting there, pink, 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 pink.
any fight he was in, he was able to, but he stayed out of a lot of stuff. Like he just sat in the dual lane and farmed most of the time untouched. That's not something you can do.
Right,
Because
because
basically,
even
yeah,
even with the Phoenix, I mean, with the Titan take, he's the only level 20 in the lobby right now.
yeah. They just let him do whatever, which is not what you want to see.
Yeah.
He like basically the other people just tied up the jungler and
Right,
the
and what
support.
we wanted to, and what we said, what we wanted to see was we wanted to see the Circuit camp him, pitch a tank in the duo lane, and
Yeah, this was definitely a duo
pitch one in
focus.
the mid lane. You pitched one very well in the mid lane, but it was not the E set that became your problem. It was very much Telly in that late game.
And another thing, kind of how we talked, like the shot calling on the sides of the Charlotte Fury was just head and shoulders above on red side.
Yeah.
Like you could see it in fights, you could see it on objectives where it just felt like they had definite shot callers making good calls, whereas red side it was just kind of like, all right, we might do this, we might do that. Then when then things started popping off, nothing was happening, like no one was talking.
For sure. I mean, like I said, I know Lynn a lot. I don't know how well she knows these other players. I don't know how well these other players know each other. But I know on Charlotte Fury's side, Atticus and Bops play a ton, you know. And especially if Zero's in there, Atticus and Zero have a lot of synergy. Telly and Charles play a lot. They have a lot of synergy, and it just works well.
Is this the main roster for both teams?
No. Usually Zero is at the mid lane. He's the starter and the
Okay.
captain. Bops is
Okay.
the sub.
When she played really well for being a sub, you could have fooled me.
Yeah, like I said, Kittens or Bops is very, very solid. And Zero's interesting because while he is the captain, he's actually between season 2 and season 3 of QSL, he has switched from the controller to PC, and as well as
That
switched from the
takes
solo
some,
lane
yeah.
to the mid lane. So, but he before was a console high diamond level player. So,
Okay.
you can take that as you will, but yeah, he's not somebody to sleep on for sure. And this is the main roster for the Chosen Guans currently.
Okay. Which me and Dragon actually had the privilege of playing with Lynn and one of our prospects, and she's not mechanically bad, but as you were saying, that there's just some like disconnect there.
You can direct that volley fire that is Lin. She is a tool to be utilized really well. It's just there's a lot on the table that wasn't being picked up. As like aggressive as Dummy Slick was, like they had the mid lane pressure to take all the neutral farm, and they didn't.
For sure. I think it's just an experience difference, for sure. So
Which I think as the season goes on, we'll see like a different side of the Chosen Guans once they actually hit their groove.
yeah, if they're able to make playoffs, which this announcement hasn't gone out yet, this is a little sneak peek here, but only 6 teams will be making the playoffs on both majors and minors. So if you are the 7th or the 8th team, you will not be participating in the playoffs proper. The 7th and 8th teams will be playing against each other for essentially the winners of the losers, but they will not be eligible for the big cup at the end, the ring.
Let's see.
So, the Chosen Guans, they might be able to be a much better team by the end, but they're gonna have to steal a couple games here and there, a set or two. Otherwise, they will certainly not be looking at any ring potential this season. So, small announcement. That official announcement, I believe, is going out tomorrow. But I have the
NDA,
authority to make it.
NDA.
I have the authority to make it right now. So,
There you go.
That's
And
interesting. I'm glad I know that. I won't sandbag as hard now.
yeah, sure. And I believe, what was it? I have to ask Red Sniper, but it's either the end of this week or something that the waiver wire resets to the worst spots currently. So whoever is
Okay.
at the bottom of both leagues will receive the top waiver spot, so they'll receive priority when it comes to any FAs being dropped or proposed FA pickups. So, although there's not too much left on the table, that is something to keep in mind going forward.
Which I would be down for an interview, Cooter. I don't know who we'd interview, but that'd be fun. Like if we get Telly, or even I'd like to talk to that jungle because he was popping off.
Let me see. Can we interview you, Telly? On the face. I'll see. Telly usually doesn't like to stay up late. Okay. Pop into caster. You will.
the telly voice.
There we go. There's the main man of the hour, Telly the Basin.
How
Telly.
y'all doing?
We're good. We just watched that set, of course. So, initial post-game thoughts for us?
My first thought is how solid our shot calling was. Even going into this game, we didn't really choose a shot caller, and it just turned out that Atticus was calling a lot of shots from solo, PK was calling a lot from jungle in terms of going in and whatnot, and it worked out really well.
Yeah, very interesting. Typically, you see your solo, not shot call. You see your support and jungle. So Charles taking a back step there.
Yeah, we were focused on winning lane a lot, Charles and I. We talked in the pregame about what we're going to do to win the lane, take T1 or rotate to Gold Scorpion, put pressure on mid, that kind of thing. And so I think he was much more focused on the small mechanics, the micro of the laning phase.
So, one of the big things though is that you went deathless this whole set. So, how much do you think that takes into account your personal skill level as well as the skill level of those around you? Do you feel like the team really lifted you up and allowed you to get all these kills and not die ever?
I think it's mostly on my team. I'd say 98% of them was just them putting me up on the shoulders to allow me to free fire and free cast, like you guys were saying on the cast. I was deathless because I didn't see Serket more than 3 times, I believe, in that last game. She was really tied up in the mid lane, the solo lane, doing a lot of ganks there, putting down the E set. It allowed me to get to 20 in the lobby and really free farm. I'd say 2% was me because I had a couple good plays here and there, but really nothing special.
So far, your team has, before this game, only won one game. So there were some underlying issues. Do you think all of those issues have been fixed? Do you think just that those were bad matchups? Or, are there any other problems you think coming out of this game that you guys can wrap up?
I think for your first point, we were really getting used to each other's comm styles and who's going to shot call, what kind of calls to listen to, et cetera, et cetera. As we've played together more often, that's gotten a lot easier. That's gotten a lot better. So that was probably a definite contributor to this game. And as far as what we can do better, I know that I can rotate better. As a personal perspective, I really enjoy the grind to 20 to get as powerful as I can to rotate out. But I could have rotated earlier to mid for a couple of those fights. So I think I'll take that into my own back pocket for future games. As far as my compatriots on the team, I cannot suggest anything. They're kicking butt.
All right. That's really my initial questions there. Dragon or Wolfman Sam, do you have anything else to add to our illustrious guest?
No, he just always seemed to show up when
When he needed to.
when he needed to.
Yeah, so let me I guess ask another follow-up question once I pull this up because I don't know the schedule off the top of my head. So looking down the line, you go against one of the best teams in the minors next, the Lil Noms. What are you looking into for that particular game, moving forward? Uh, any insights you can give us without spoiling any secrets or surprises?
Yeah, I can't give away too much. Obviously, like the picks that we're gonna play, obviously, we're not gonna reveal here, but we're gonna focus a lot more, like we did in this game, on the shot calls, the macro play, reading the lanes and the pressure they're gonna provide us, and responding appropriately. For example, if they're gonna tie themselves up in mid, let the side lanes get ahead. And just really reacting to that kind of thing is what's gonna take us to victory in that set.
All right, all right.
How did you feel seeing all those ADC bans come out?
It's
Game
one of
on.
those things where I love on her mechanically speaking. He's just the god that I played the most in this game. I feel the most comfortable on him. To have him banned is both sad for me because I love the character, but it feels good. It's a respect ban.
I am gonna say you're on her doo all over us week 1, so that'll be banned.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So my captain is telling me to ask you, are you ready for chaos again?
I think I am. I think Chaos and I are actually rather equally skilled per se in terms of how we play the lane, how we go for poke, how we can play the lane macro wise in terms of missing farm, taking back harpies, maybe even evading a purple here and there when we feel the need with our jungle. So I want to see us fight again on comfortable picks and see who's actually better.
Heck yeah, the grudge match will be coming strong because I'm ready for it too.
I'm right there with you.
All right, well, I think we've had added enough to this set here. It's been a great time. Both of you guys in the booth did a fantastic job casting this set. It was a great time watching it too, Telly, putting up a show, as well as the rest of the team. Obviously, I'm always proud of you guys, regardless of the results. So, um, GG's everyone, and any parting thoughts from Dragon and Wolf, and we will be off your back.
Just a really well played set from the side of Charlotte Fury. Definitely room improvement on both sides of the table, but definitely very strong performance.
Yeah, I'm just excited to see how well the team dynamics and the shot calling develops going forward for both
Mhm.
teams.
For sure. So do not forget, though, stay tuned. In 20 minutes, there will be another game late night here in the QSL. Will continue. We're going to have the Ferrymen versus the Obsidian Knights, another minors match at 11 p.m. EST. So do not worry. Stay tuned for more Smite.
It's gonna be spicy.
For sure.
Yeah.